Welcome back to Seamless Xtra as we continue to explore the latest trends and innovations in the world of digital commerce.
Hello and welcome to Seamless Xtra. Today we are honored to have with us Deven Moodley, Executive Head of Financial Services at PicknPay. With his extensive experience and leadership at one of South Africa's largest retailers, Devon brings invaluable insights into the evolving landscape of financial services in the retail sector. We will discuss diversifying payment channels, promoting financial inclusion, and the steps needed to transition towards a cashless economy. Welcome, Devon. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi, Alia. It's a pleasure to join you.
It's great to have you here. So just to start, considering PicknPay's stature as one of South Africa's largest retailers, how pivotal is the diversification of payment channels, and what emerging customer behaviors are shaping the payment trends?
Thanks. PicknPay, one of the oldest retailers in South Africa, has quite a diverse and far-reaching number of estates with just close onto 2,000 stores, an online presence, and multiple online type stores. Having a diversification from payment channels is quite crucial for our customer reach. Now, this does play a bit of competitive advantage as we extend our ways to pay capabilities that takes an array of different digital and physical kind of payments, but it also helps us in meeting our customer expectations when it comes to affordability. Being one of the leaders in retail or grocery retailing specifically in South Africa, offering these multiple payment options such as mobile payments and contactless digital wallets and buy now, pay later, etc. This enhances convenience and accessibility for our customers. Now, some of the emerging customer trends, which have been growing, towards a preference towards digital and contactless transactions, is largely through speed and security. So while the rise of the smartphone usage has led to a lot more mobile wallet capabilities, the pandemic actually accelerated the shift towards contactless, for personal hygiene reasons. Nobody wanted to touch a pad and enter a PIN number. And that really helped many retailers transform what was once known as quite clunky kind of payment capabilities inside. So expanding that range is quite important. And, alongside of that, there's a notable trend towards an integrated financial services where customers seek seamless experiences combining shopping and financial management. So you can now do most things that you couldn't do even 3 years ago in a retail store quite frictionlessly. So for sure, the landscape around evolution of payments has rapidly increased over the last 3 to 4 years.
Thank you, Devon. So just on to the next topic. In what ways does PicknPay actively promote financial inclusion by leveraging advancements in financial services, like banking services, insurance, mobile MVNO, and ways to pay? And how do retailers contribute to the broadening financial access?
Look, PicknPay has always and will always promote financial inclusion, and we do this through several innovative strategies. For instance, we've introduced services such as banking through various partnerships. One of the fastest growing neobanks in South Africa, and dare I say in the world, Time Bank, had its roots inside of PicknPay. And this, we saw an opportunity to extend a low-cost banking product to the underserved communities in South Africa. Further to that, we've also introduced, type of bank in many branches where traditional banks have found some space in PicknPay, and we continue to change the way in which we operate from our retail landscape. Now, what you are allowed to do in these stores is somewhat different to what you would do in a traditional bank. We have cash in and cash out at every single lane in PicknPay, which makes it super convenient and safe for customers to access cash at every single point of sale. But you can also open up an account and do some basic transaction sort of capabilities inside a retail store, as well as some services associated with banking. So the emergence of both retail and banking have started to come together in quite a super way for consumers. It's a win-win. They can bank where they shop, and it really works well. Further to that, We ventured into insurance and mobile, specifically having PicknPay Mobile, which is our own mobile virtual network operator, with MTN providing the rails for that. Now, that allows us to provide affordable insurance and mobile plans to underserved communities. Now, when we integrate these services into the retail environment, not only do we enhance the customer convenience, but we also make financial services more accessible to the broader demographic. And that is what true financial inclusion is all about. It's not just about putting a bank account in front of a customer that didn't have one previously, but also opening up more other financial services to them where they would technically be locked out of it. Now, we play quite a critical role in broadening financial access, because not only do we have the footprint and the consumer, we also have rich data sets, so we can understand exactly what customers want and how we can then fulfill that. And partnering with various banks and financial services institutions allows us to do that. And that's how we can grow and foster greater financial inclusion. And for us, empowerment, because an empowered consumer can do so much more in the community in which they operate in. So retailers play a pivotal role when it comes to financial inclusion.
Thank you, Devon. So just also to round it up and just touch on a cashless society and a cashless future, what collaborative measures must retailers, banks, third-party providers, and regulators implement to transition effectively towards a cashless economy?
Great question. The notion of a completely cashless society is one of financial exclusion, because there will always be consumers and a demographic that won't adopt to digital payments or completely eradicate the use of cash. And you can imagine not getting access to basic healthcare facilities or pharmaceuticals or, God forbid, groceries if you're not allowed to use your cash. So I think a perfect cashless society in the next 20, 30 years is probably a utopia that will probably never happen. But a largely cashless society is certainly on the horizon. And on the horizon, I would say within the next 3 to 5 years, you will see predominantly more cashless transactions occurring. And the growth rates have started to already emerge. Like in PicknPay, for example, a little over 18 months ago, digital payments was less than 0.5%. Today, it accounts for 3% of the transactions that we use in our stores come from some form of digital payments. And I'm actually not talking about Apple Pay, where you're just tapping your phone, because that runs on card rails. I'm talking about real digital payments using QR codes, using wallets, etc. But, to really transition towards a cashless society, this requires a coordinated effort across retailers, banks, third-party providers, and the regulators. And these can be probably summarized in a few areas. So one, we definitely need further standardization and interoperability, developing common standards and protocols for payments systems to ensure that there's seamless transactions across different platforms. And this is quite important, because the level of standardization that one needs to introduce comes with a lot of costs. So it's certainly a big investment, but certainly in the right direction in which many organizations are moving. To have a cashless society, you need to build security and fraud prevention mechanics. And I think one can't underscore this enough, because implementing a robust security measures to protect against fraud and cyber threats gives customers a sense of security. Their money is safe, the systems work, they're not going to be hacked. So we certainly think that with this ecosystem that gets built across digital payments, the trust that comes from the activities associated with security and fraud prevention are quite important. And then, of course, there are regulatory frameworks, because one can try all kinds of innovations, but, legislation always tries to put some guardrails in place. But this is important, because as there become more and more ownership on consumer awareness around data and how data is managed, and security around platforms and ecosystems, consumer rights must remain at the center of this. So what the security, regulatory frameworks, etc., seek to bring is peace of mind to consumers, that while they hand out their data and their information, etc., it's being treated in quite a fair way and a rigorous way. Another important aspect is consumer education. Now, one can develop the most amount of technology. We can put a lot of smart tech in customers' hands, at our point of sale, online. But if you don't build customer education, and when I talk about customer education, it's about how consumers need to engage and utilize these various types of payments, we will never get the adoption that we're looking for. Now, I think what's important here is that in the world of digital payments, it is important that retailers play a role in this, because there is a relationship with banks. There's a very limited relationship when it comes to various other service providers, but customers come to trust retailers in where they purchase their goods and service. So the role that we play there is quite important. And there are other aspects, like infrastructure development and incentives and accessibility. But if you think about it in short, creating the right security, developing the right education for consumers, managing their data in a responsible and robust way, those are the key tenets that will help us build towards a cashless economy. At Pick n Pay, cash is still quite significant, more than, it was close onto 80%, and it's now 70% of the volume of transactions in which Pick n Pay processes is in cash. But we've seen a huge growth towards digital payments. Cards still significant in our world. But, with the right aspects we're putting in our Ways to Play program, I think we're giving them the broader spectrum to utilize whatever they're most comfortable with in a retail store. It's a philosophy of never saying no to a customer. So whether you choose to pay with a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, or whether you choose to pay with a buy now, pay later, you can. Although we do segmentize the type of products. So, for example, we will only use a buy now, pay later on white goods and general merchandise, and not on groceries, because it's not promoting the right kind of financial wellness, to be honest. So in short, those are the tenets that will help us build towards a cashless society.
Thank you, Devon. This has been an incredibly insightful and valuable conversation. We're excited to have you back at Seamless Africa in October in Joburg, and to hear you on stage. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you soon.